The November rain sliced across Fifth Avenue like it had something to prove. Ethan Maddox Carter's Bentley moved inch by inch through the early evening traffic, a slow crawl that matched the mood coiling in his gut. The car's Bluetooth chirped. "Mr. Carter, the Shanghai delegation moved the call to 8 a.m. Your father confirmed dinner tomorrow. And Ms. Adler wants final approval on the Carter Foundation press release." Ethan didn't respond right away. He was watching raindrops race each other down the windshield, jaw tight. "Tell them I'll review the press release tonight," he said finally, voice clipped, "and cancel tomorrow's dinner." "But, sir, your father—" "I said cancel it." A beat of silence. "Yes, sir." The car was warm, silent, too quiet for the way his thoughts churned. Ethan loosened his tie and glanced at the Cartier box in the glove compartment. A stupid habit, keeping it there. He should have thrown it away years ago. But like the ghost of her, it followed him. He'd bought that ring 6 years ago. A flawless Asher cut, custom set in platinum. He was going to propose the night everything fell apart. He had it all planned. Dinner in Tribeca, a bottle of her favorite red already waiting at the table, a candle-lit rooftop where he'd once kissed her under a meteor shower. And then, nothing. A voicemail, her keys on the counter, a note with 6 words that gutted him. "I can't be second anymore. Goodbye." He'd read that note more times than he cared to admit. Back then, Ethan was ready to walk away from Carter Technologies. Ready to tell his father to go to hell, but he didn't. He blinked, and Callie was gone. And the company, and the old man who ran it like a war camp, tightened their grip on him. He hadn't seen her since. The light turned green. Ethan pressed the gas too hard. His tires skidded. A delivery van veered left without signaling, cutting into his lane. He slammed on the brakes, but the slick pavement didn't care. The world spun. Metal, lights, impact. The airbag hit like a punch to the face. When it finally deflated, Ethan blinked through the haze of smoke and blood. His wrist screamed. Something hot trickled down his temple. Sir, can you hear me?" A flashlight cut through the fog of his thoughts. "I'm fine," he muttered. "Just get me out." "You need medical attention." I said, "It's protocol, head trauma." 20 minutes later, he was sitting in the emergency bay at Manhattan General, rain-spotted, bloodied, pissed. His suit, tailored Italian wool, was wrinkled beyond salvation. His wrist was already swelling. He stared blankly as a nurse wrapped gauze around his forearm. "The doctor will be in shortly, Mr. Carter. You're lucky it wasn't worse." He wasn't listening. Not really. The phone was in his hand, the Shanghai deck. Calendar alerts, distractions, and then he heard it, a child's hacking cough from down the hallway. Labored, wet, followed by a voice that froze him in place. "Room 2, let's get the nebulizer prepped now." That voice. His heart stuttered. She came into view suddenly, pulling back the curtain to grab equipment from a cabinet across from him. She didn't see him at first, but he saw her. Callie. Her dark curls were pinned back haphazardly, tendrils falling around her temples. She wore navy scrubs and a white coat embroidered with her name. A stethoscope hung around her neck like a badge of resilience. She looked older, sharper. Beautiful still, but different. Then she looked up and froze. Their eyes locked. He hadn't prepared for this moment. Hell, he'd spent 6 years avoiding it. "Callie," he breathed, barely audible. She flinched. A subtle tremor ran through her fingers before her face hardened, masking the flash of shock. "Dr. Mendez needs me in PEDS," she told another nurse, voice steady, and then she was gone. Gone, like she had been 6 years ago. No explanation, no backward glance. Ethan sat back, the sterile smell of antiseptic sharp in his nostrils, her scent, lavender and something he'd never been able to name, still hanging in the air. His wrist throbbed, his head spun. But all he could see was her. Callie was here, still in New York. Not halfway across the country, like he'd always assumed. His thoughts skidded the same way his car had. Why hadn't he looked for her? Because knowing she was close would have broken him. He was still reeling when he heard it again. That cough, ragged and raw, followed by a child's whimper and the soft murmur of reassurance. "It's okay, baby. Mommy's right here." His stomach dropped. A nurse's voice echoed down the corridor. "Oliver's fever's climbing. He should be admitted for the night, Oliver." The name hit him like a bullet. And then he heard it, the child, wheezing, saying through cracked lips, "Mommy!" Ethan stood before his brain could catch up. He stepped toward the sound, unthinking. And through a half-closed curtain he saw him, a boy, small, pale, curls sticking to his forehead, maybe 5. Maybe 6. Then the boy looked up, and Ethan's world shattered. Because those weren't just any eyes, they were his. Callie Bennett moved like muscle memory through the pediatric wing. Chart in one hand, stethoscope in the other, her steps were steady, but her insides were a mess of static. Ethan, here. In her hospital. For years, she'd imagined seeing him again. A dozen versions. 100 what-ifs, but not like this. Not soaked in rain and blood. Not in the bay 2 doors down from her son. She kept her face neutral as she stepped into Oliver's room. He looked better, less flushed, but still fragile. His cheeks were too pale, his breathing uneven, even with the nebulizer. She checked his temperature, adjusted the IV. "Mommy?" he rasped, voice thin. She knelt beside him and stroked his hair. "Yeah, baby." "I'm here." The nurse who'd paged her earlier re-entered the room. "Dr. Mendez wants to keep him overnight." His O2 dipped again after the treatment. Callie nodded. "I figured." The nurse hesitated. He's asking questions." "About the man in Bay 3. Callie didn't flinch, but something in her throat tightened. "Okay," she said quietly. "Do you want me to say something?" "No." Her voice was firmer this time. "I'll handle it." When the nurse left, she sat on the edge of Oliver's bed and watched her son breathe. He was everything, her entire world in one freckled, curious, asthmatic, brilliant little boy. And now, Ethan knew. The door creaked open behind her. She didn't have to turn to know who it was. "I'm not here to fight," Ethan said softly. I had to see him again. Make sure he's okay." Callie rose, turning to face him. He looked steadier now. His wrist was wrapped. The gash on his forehead was bandaged. But his expression was a battlefield. "You shouldn't be here," she said, her voice low but sharp. "This isn't your world anymore." "Apparently," he said quietly. It never was. A tense silence stretched between them. "He's mine?" Ethan asked, even though the answer was written across the boy's face. "Yes." "For how long?" Callie's laugh was short and bitter. "For 6 years. Minus the 9 months I carried him. So, 6 years and change." He winced. "You disappeared," he said. "You let me," her voice cracked. "You chose your father's legacy over your own life. You could have told me. I was going to." The words burst out. "That night. I had dinner reservations. I wore that stupid green dress you always liked. I was going to tell you." Ethan stepped forward. "Then why didn't you?" "Because your father called you away." Her voice shook now, ragged with memory. "Because your assistant canceled our anniversary dinner with a cold text that said family emergency, we'll call later, and you never did." Ethan blinked, stunned. I didn't know." "Exactly," Callie whispered. "Because you didn't ask." She looked back toward Oliver, who was half asleep now, his little hands curled around the edges of his blanket. I wasn't going to drag him into that world, she said. The boardrooms, the cold silence, the pressure to be perfect. You think I wanted him judged by the same standards that crushed you? I wouldn't let that happen. You already did, Ethan. He flinched again, but this time he didn't retreat. Can I sit with him? For a minute? Callie hesitated, then nodded once. He moved to the side of the bed and crouched, unsure. Then gently, reverently, he brushed a piece of hair off Oliver's forehead. I missed everything, he said more to himself than her. First words, first steps. First time he got sick and you stayed up all night worrying. Callie folded her arms. Yes, you did. Ethan stood slowly, eyes still on his son. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I want to know him. She studied him. The man in front of her looked like Ethan, but the edges had changed, softer in places, sharper in others. I don't know what that looks like, she admitted. Neither do I, he said. But I'm willing to figure it out. A monitor beeped. Oliver stirred again. I need to get back, Callie said. My shift's not over. Ethan nodded. Callie, what? He looked at her like she was a question he still didn't know how to answer. I never stopped. She didn't ask what he meant. She couldn't afford to hear it, not yet. Instead, she opened the door and walked out. And Ethan was left standing in the quiet room beside the boy who looked like him, under the weight of 6 years he couldn't get back. Ethan stood alone in the pediatric ward hallway long after Callie had walked away. Outside, Manhattan pulsed as always, impatient, indifferent. But in here, something had shifted, something irreversible. He had a son. The word refused to sink in, no matter how often he repeated it in his head. I have a son. Not just a son who'd been sick, a son who needed nebulizers and monitoring, a son who'd grown up without ever hearing Ethan's voice, without ever knowing his father existed. He thought of his own childhood, the strict schedules, the tailored suits by age 10, the piano lessons he never asked for, the cold approval of a father who measured love in achievements. He had sworn to be different one day. And yet here he was, just like him, absent. His phone buzzed. Are you coming back to the office? Jared, his head of operations. Then another message. Your father's looking for you, wants an update on the Soul Project. Ethan ignored them both. What he wanted, what he needed, was time. And a map, one that led back to something he'd never known how to hold on to. Callie sat in the break room, fingers wrapped around a paper cup of vending machine coffee she didn't remember making. She didn't shake, not outwardly, but something inside her felt hollow, like a house with one too many closed-off rooms. Lucia's voice played in her head. He's not the man you knew anymore. She wasn't sure if that scared her or gave her hope. She pulled out her phone and opened her photos. There was one from last week, Oliver in a rocket ship hoodie, standing in front of a model of the solar system at the Science Museum. His smile had been wide, pure, safe. Now, that safety felt threatened. Not by Ethan, not directly, but by everything that came with him. Power, press, his father. His last name, Carter. Oliver's birth certificate didn't bear it. But genetically, spiritually, he was Ethan's boy through and through. Same way of tilting his head when he was thinking. Same furrow in his brow when he didn't understand something. She had hidden him from Ethan to protect him. She still believed that, but now Ethan knew. She could see it in his face, the way he looked at Oliver like the earth had shifted under his feet. And despite everything, a small part of her still whispered, he showed up. He could have walked away, could have ignored what he saw. But he hadn't. He came back. Later that night, after the ward had quieted and Callie had clocked out, she stood by Oliver's bed. He was asleep, his chest rising and falling in soft, even breaths. She brushed a curl off his forehead and kissed him gently. Then she whispered, "I think your dad wants to know you." Oliver didn't stir. And maybe that was a good thing, because the storm was coming. She could feel it in her bones. 6 years of silence didn't disappear without noise. Callie stood in the doorway of his room for a long time before heading home, her mind already spiraling through what came next. Visitation, lawyers, questions from her son, questions she wasn't sure she was ready to answer. Chapter 2. Ethan sat in his high-rise penthouse later that same night. The skyline glittered, but the usual satisfaction he felt looking over it had evaporated. His mother had called twice. He didn't pick up. Instead, he opened his laptop and typed asthma in children. For the next 2 hours, he read articles, scanned studies, clicked through pages of inhaler brands, allergy triggers, emergency protocols. There was so much he didn't know. So much he'd missed. A quiet rage built in him, not at Callie, at himself. For being blind, for letting pride and fear and his father's grip control him for so long. There had been a time when he'd thought love could wait. That time was gone. Ethan closed his laptop, opened his contacts, and typed in a new name, Callie Bennett. He didn't press send, not yet. But he stared at the blinking cursor for a long, long time. The cafe was small, tucked between a yoga studio and a bookstore in Soho, the kind of place Callie used to love before everything got complicated. It smelled like fresh bread and burnt espresso, comforting in a way she didn't want to admit. She sat by the window, fingers wrapped around a warm mug of chamomile tea, watching the drizzle slip down the glass. Her knee bounced under the table. She hated that she still got like this, antsy, wired, before seeing him. Ethan was late. Part of her wasn't surprised. When the door finally swung open and she saw him, her breath caught anyway. He looked tired. Not in the disheveled, just had an accident way he had the night before, but deeply tired, worn. As if the weight of 6 years had finally decided to show up on his face. He scanned the room, spotted her, and walked over with a stiffness that felt unintentional. "Hi," he said, his voice low, cautious. "Hi." He sat across from her. Neither of them touched the menus. "You look—" He stopped himself. "Never mind." She raised an eyebrow. "What?" "I was going to say you look good, but that felt out of place." Callie sipped her tea. "Probably because it is." A beat of silence passed. "I wasn't sure you'd agree to this," Ethan said. "I'm not sure why I did." His mouth twitched, somewhere between a wince and a smile. "Thank you anyway." The waiter came. Ethan ordered a black coffee. Nothing else. They waited until he walked away before either of them spoke again. "So," Callie said, setting her mug down, "you know now." He nodded. "Yeah? And I don't know how I didn't see it before," he admitted. His eyes, his face, the way he looks when he's thinking too hard about something, it's all there. She folded her arms, the wall coming back up. "Knowing doesn't entitle you to anything." "I know. Good. But I want to be there now." Callie's laugh was sharp. "You say that like it's a switch, like you can just show up one day and be there. I don't think it's simple. I just can't pretend he doesn't exist. You've done it for 6 years. That hit him. Hard. She saw it in his eyes. I never would have, if I had known. I swear to you, Callie, I didn't walk away from a child. I didn't even know I had one to walk away from. Callie leaned back. Studied him. I used to dream of you coming back, finding us. I had all these fantasy scenarios in my head. You'd show up with flowers, with apologies, with a plan. But they were just that. Fantasies. You were gone. I thought you went to Chicago, or back to D.C., maybe even left the country. I stayed here. In the same city, working in the same damn hospital. Ethan rubbed a hand down his face. I never looked. I was afraid if I found you, I'd feel everything I worked so hard to bury. Congratulations, she said. You're feeling it now. They sat in silence for a moment. The weight of 6 years, miscommunication, pain, pride, lay between them like an open wound. Can I ask about him? Ethan said finally. She hesitated, then nodded once. His name is Oliver Bennett. He's 5.5. He hates carrots, loves the moon. His asthma's under control, mostly. He reads at a 2nd grade level, and he sleeps with a stuffed astronaut named Commander Blue. Ethan's lips curved, softly, reverently. I'd like to meet him, properly. Callie didn't smile. Not yet. I understand. I don't think you do. He's not a project, not something you get to claim because you suddenly feel ready. I know that. She stared at him, searching for the lie, but she didn't find one. That terrified her even more. You can come to his next checkup, next Tuesday, but we don't tell him who you are. Not yet. He nodded. Okay. And no contact outside of that until I say so. Okay. And if your mother finds out and starts her campaign to bulldoze my life again, I will disappear with him, Ethan. I won't hesitate this time. He looked her straight in the eyes. She doesn't get a say, not anymore. Another pause. I don't know what this is, she said, her voice softer now. But if it's anything, it's going to be slow. On my terms. And his. He looked like he wanted to reach across the table, but didn't. Instead, he just said, I'll wait, however long it takes. Callie picked up her tea again, mostly to keep her hands busy. He still had the power to shake her. That hadn't changed. But now, she had someone more important to protect. Ethan stood just outside the pediatric clinic at Manhattan General, one hand jammed in his coat pocket, the other clenching a folded paper with Oliver's appointment time scribbled across it. His wrists still ached from the accident. The gash on his forehead had healed enough to go unnoticed, but something deeper inside him hadn't. Through the glass doors, he could see Callie. She wore her scrubs and that same white coat. Her hair was pulled back today, exposing the curve of her neck, the sharpness in her jaw when she was focused. She was speaking to a nurse, calm, clear, in charge, and beside her stood a little boy, Ethan's breath caught in his throat. It was him, Oliver. He was shorter than Ethan expected. Slighter, maybe, but everything else, the mop of dark curls, the small, serious mouth. And then Oliver turned, just enough for Ethan to see his eyes, blue-gray, just like his. A memory rushed in. Ethan, age 10, standing in front of a mirror in his father's study, tugging at a navy blazer, while his father lectured him about composure. Stand up straight. Those eyes are your legacy. Don't ever forget it. He hadn't. And now, those same eyes looked out from a face he barely knew. Callie glanced up, spotted him. Her expression shifted, cautious, unreadable. She said something to the nurse and walked Oliver toward the hallway near exam room 6. Ethan followed slowly, suddenly unsure what to do with his hands, or his breath. Callie met him halfway. He doesn't know, she said quietly. We'll keep it that way. For now. Ethan nodded. Okay. You stay quiet. Sit in the corner. If he asks, you're shadowing the appointment as part of a health initiative. Kids accept anything if it sounds official. Ethan tried to smile. You really don't trust me, do you? Callie tilted her head. I trust you not to screw this up for me. That's all I need right now. She turned before he could respond and pushed the exam room door open. Inside, Oliver climbed onto the table like a pro. He tugged at the sleeves of his rocket print hoodie, then started flipping through a book about space that he'd brought with him. The room smelled like disinfectant and crayons. Hi, Doctor. Mendez, he said when the pediatrician walked in. Ethan sat in the corner as directed, silent, still, but his eyes never left his son. Dr. Mendez greeted him politely, a professional nod. The examination was routine. Lungs, oxygen levels, peak flow readings. Callie moved through it all with practiced ease, assisting, noting everything. Oliver spoke with a quiet confidence that startled Ethan. I only used my inhaler once this week, Oliver said. After recess, I remembered to sit out the last 10 minutes. Ms. Bryant says I'm better at pacing. That's excellent, Dr. Mendez praised him. Recess is important, but knowing your limits, that's just as brave. Ethan felt something inside him twist. He'd missed so many of these moments. The small victories. The gentle pride. Then Oliver glanced at him. Who's that? He asked, pointing with a small thumb. Ethan froze. Callie didn't. He's just visiting. Observing how we help kids stay healthy, she said, smiling tightly. Part of a hospital project. Oliver squinted at him. He looks like someone. Have I seen you before? Ethan's voice came out hoarse. I was here last week. I had a car accident. Oh. Oliver nodded, as if that explained everything. I thought your face looked kind of banged up. Callie stifled a sound, maybe a laugh, maybe a sigh. You like space? Ethan asked before he could stop himself. Oliver lit up. It's my favorite. Yeah? Did you know that Saturn could float in water because it's made of gas? I didn't, Ethan admitted. That's pretty cool. Oliver smiled, shy but proud. Then he turned back to his book. I'm going to be an astronaut, but only on days I don't feel too wheezy. Ethan blinked hard. When the appointment ended, Callie ushered Oliver out first. I'll be right behind you, baby. Go wait with Nurse Tammy. Ethan stood. Callie didn't look at him right away. He's incredible, he said quietly. I know. I want more time, not just appointments. A real chance. She finally met his eyes. One moment doesn't buy you a lifetime. I'm not trying to buy anything. Good, she said, because this isn't for sale. She opened the door, turned back just once. You did okay today, but that's all it is, today. Ethan watched her walk away, Oliver trailing just ahead of her, book clutched in one hand. He didn't have a title. Not yet. Not to Oliver. But for the first time, Ethan Maddox Carter didn't feel like a CEO or a legacy or a disappointment. He felt like a man who just wanted to be someone's father. The late afternoon sun hung low over Brooklyn, throwing long gold shadows across the pavement, as Ethan followed Callie down a quiet residential block lined with brick townhouses and modest trees. They'd just dropped Oliver off at his after-school art program. Callie hadn't exactly invited Ethan to come along, but she hadn't told him to leave either. I thought you lived in Manhattan, he said, trying to fill the silence. I used to. Now I live in the real world. She stopped in front of a neighborhood park, worn benches, a rusty swing set, kids running in untied sneakers. There was a mural on the back wall. Stars, planets, a smiling astronaut painted in brilliant blues and purples. Ethan shoved his hands in his coat pockets. "Is that his?" Callie nodded. They let the kids paint it last summer. He insisted the stars had to be scientifically accurate. Spent 3 nights studying constellations just to prove a point. Ethan smiled, softly, honestly. "That sounds like him." "He takes things seriously," she said, still watching the mural. "Like it all matters." "He gets that from you." Callie turned, finally meeting his eyes. There was no warmth in her expression, just tired restraint. "Why are you really here, Ethan?" He blinked. "I told you. I want to know him." "That's part of it," she said, "but it's not all of it. You're chasing something, and I need to know if it's about Oliver or if it's about fixing whatever guilt you've been carrying around." He was quiet for a long time. When he spoke, his voice was different, lower, raw. "I had the ring." Callie's eyebrows drew together. 6 years ago," he continued, "the night you left, I had a ring in my pocket. I'd planned this whole rooftop thing. Candles, skyline view, stupid jazz music. And then I got that call from my father. He said there was a family emergency and I didn't even text me," she finished. "Didn't check, didn't call. I was 29, he said, and still terrified of disappointing a man I hated. That's not an excuse." "It's not," he agreed. "But it's the truth." Callie looked away toward the kids playing on the swings. "I waited for hours that night. We had reservations. I even wore the green dress you liked." He swallowed hard. "I kept the ring. For months. Even after I knew it was too late." Silence stretched between them, long and uncomfortable. "Do you want to know the worst part?" Callie said, almost to herself. "I was going to tell you about the baby that night. I was terrified, but I was ready." Ethan's face crumpled. "You were going to tell me?" "I had the words planned," she whispered. "But then you didn't show. And I realized I couldn't raise a child with someone who would always choose power over people, control over love." Ethan sat on the bench beside her, hands clasped between his knees. "I failed you." "Yes," she said. "You did." Neither of them spoke for a while. The hum of the city filtered in. A passing train overhead, a car honking, kids laughing. "I want to get it right this time," he said eventually. "I don't know how, but I'm trying." Callie glanced at him. He looked different, not in the physical sense, but in the way he carried himself, less composed, less armored. "Don't try to fix it all at once," she said. "That's what you always did before. You tried to buy peace. Patch holes with grand gestures, but some things just take time. I don't have a map for this." "Good," she said, "because if you did, I wouldn't trust it." They sat in shared quiet again, watching the light shift over the playground mural. Finally, Callie stood. "Come on. Oliver gets out in 20. You can walk with us back to the apartment, if you stay quiet about being his dad." Ethan stood too. "I can do quiet." Callie paused. "It's not just about being quiet. It's about earning your place." He nodded. "Then I'll keep showing up." As they walked toward the school, side by side but not touching, Ethan realized something startling. He didn't know if he and Callie would ever be what they were, but for the first time, he was willing to work for something he couldn't control. Chapter. Saturday morning came with unexpected sunlight, sharp and clear. The kind of fall day that tried to pretend winter wasn't waiting just around the corner. Ethan was already outside the American Museum of Natural History when Callie and Oliver arrived. He hadn't slept much. He'd spent most of the night memorizing facts about Mars, Jupiter's moons, and the difference between comets and asteroids. He wasn't sure why, only that if Oliver asked, he wanted to be ready. Callie wore jeans and a soft grey hoodie, curls tucked beneath a knit beanie. She looked casual, guarded, and deeply maternal, her entire presence tethered to the boy beside her. Oliver wore his navy blue space hoodie, a Velcro-fastened pair of sneakers, and a backpack that bounced with each step. When he saw Ethan, his face lit up, not with familiarity, but with polite curiosity. "You came," Callie said simply. Not a compliment or an accusation, just a fact. "I said I would," Ethan replied. "You brought notes," Oliver said, squinting at the folded papers in Ethan's hand. Ethan held them up. "I studied. Heard you're the expert on planets. I figured I needed to catch up." Oliver grinned. "Let's see if you get anything right." Inside the museum, they walked through the solar system wing first. Callie let Oliver lead, and Ethan hung back slightly, letting the boy's enthusiasm guide the rhythm of the visit. Oliver stopped at the Mars exhibit and tapped on the glass. "Did you know Mars has the largest volcano in the whole solar system? Olympus Mons. It's like 3 times the size of Mount Everest." 3.7, Ethan added. Oliver turned to him, impressed. "You did study." "Maybe," Ethan said, eyes warm. "But I bet you know something I don't." "I always do," Oliver said matter-of-factly. Then he pointed to the next display. "That's Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. They think it might have an ocean underneath the ice." Callie watched them from a few feet back, arms crossed. She hadn't smiled yet, but her shoulders had lowered. Just a little. They made it through the meteorite collection, a space capsule simulation, and the moon rock room. At one point, Oliver tripped slightly on the edge of a display and instinctively reached back, not for Callie, but for Ethan. Ethan caught his hand. It was small, warm, trusting. The contact lasted only a second before Oliver pulled away and went back to rattling off facts. But Ethan felt it like a sun flare. They stopped for lunch at the museum cafe. Ethan offered to pay. Callie didn't argue. She did, however, eye the chocolate milk he ordered for Oliver. "You're spoiling him already," she muttered as they sat down. "He's 5. Let the man enjoy his dairy," Ethan replied. Oliver leaned on the table with both elbows, straw halfway in his mouth. "Are you guys friends?" Callie blinked. Ethan looked to her. "Sort of," she said. "We used to know each other a long time ago." "Like school?" "Kind of." "Did you stop being friends?" Callie hesitated. "Yeah." "Why?" Ethan stepped in gently. "Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes." Oliver considered this like a scientist gathering data. "Did you say sorry?" Ethan nodded. "I'm working on it." That seemed to satisfy him. After lunch, they visited the gift shop. Ethan tried to buy Oliver a $40 astronaut plush, but Callie intervened and handed the boy a $10 rocket pen instead. As they exited the museum, Oliver tugged Ethan's sleeve. "Can I show you my favorite constellation?" Ethan knelt beside him. "Of course." Oliver pointed up at the sky, still too bright to see anything, but he drew invisible lines with his fingers. "That's Orion. You can see the belt right there when it's dark enough. 3 stars, just like that." "Got it," Ethan said softly, staring at the same blank space, but seeing something much more. Callie watched them, eyes unreadable. You okay? Ethan asked her quietly, as Oliver ran ahead to the steps. I don't know, she said. It's easier when I hate you. Ethan nodded. I get that. They stood in silence for a beat, watching their son chase invisible stars in the air. I can't promise I'll get everything right, Ethan said, but I'm not going anywhere this time. Callie looked at him, really looked at him, and for a split second, the wall between them flickered. Good, she said, because this isn't about you and me anymore. It's about him. I know. She started walking toward Oliver. Then act like it. As Ethan followed, he caught the tail end of Oliver's voice. When the stars come out, I'll show you where Jupiter is. And for the first time in years, Ethan felt like he was exactly where he was supposed to be. The Carter Foundation Gala was one of Manhattan's most overhyped events. Glass walls, white orchids, money in every corner. Ethan had spent years perfecting the part he played here, polished, silent, unshakable. The man who inherited a tech empire and made it look effortless. Tonight, that performance felt exhausting. He wore the tux, sipped the bourbon, nodded through handshakes and compliments he didn't care about. But his mind wasn't in that ballroom. It was in a Brooklyn apartment, with a kid who loved the stars and a woman who still didn't know how to forgive him. And that's exactly when Evelyn found him. She appeared beside him like a shadow in heels, dressed in silver silk and disdain. Her diamond earrings caught the chandelier light, but nothing in her expression sparkled. Ethan, she said, her voice velvet-wrapped steel. We need to talk. He didn't bother with pleasantries. Mother. I heard you've been spending time in Brooklyn. He stiffened, instantly alert. And don't insult us both by pretending it's casual. Someone saw you at the museum, with her. Ethan's jaw clenched. Her name is Callie. Evelyn blinked once, slow and cold. She disappeared 6 years ago, Ethan. That should tell you everything. She didn't disappear, he said quietly. I just didn't bother to look. A pause. She has a child, Evelyn said. Yes. Evelyn narrowed her eyes. Is it yours? Ethan didn't answer right away. That was enough confirmation. Well, she said, lips tightening. I suppose congratulations are in order. How delightfully scandalous. You always did have a taste for messy women. He turned to her fully now, voice steady but low. Don't ever refer to her that way again. Evelyn lifted her glass. I'm just trying to be pragmatic. You're on the verge of launching a product that could redefine health data security. Investors are watching. The board is watching. And now you've got an illegitimate child and a woman with no legal connection to your name. She's not some liability you can PR manage. She's not one of us. Ethan laughed, sharp and bitter. Good. That's probably why I loved her. Evelyn's mouth thinned. You're not young anymore, Ethan. If you tie yourself to this situation, it's permanent. Public. It can't be buried. I don't want to bury it. His mother's voice dropped to ice. Then you'll lose everything your father built. He didn't flinch this time. Maybe that's a good thing. For a moment, she looked stunned. Then, with smooth precision, she delivered the blow. Don't be naive. If you think she won't use the child to manipulate you, you're even more foolish than I thought. And if she tries to take him from you later, you'll have nothing. No legal standing, no custody rights, no protection. Ethan's heart pounded. I'm telling you this because once it escalates, there's no coming back, Evelyn added. So if you're going to act like a father now, you'd better start protecting yourself before she protects herself from you. And with that, She walked away. Later that night, Callie stood at her kitchen counter, folding Oliver's space pajamas, when her phone buzzed. She didn't recognize the number. Voicemail. She hit play while wiping down the counter. "Ms. Bennett, this is Danielle Hawthorne with the Carter family office. I'm calling in regard to Mr. Ethan Carter's visitation intentions. We'd like to propose a formal arrangement in writing. Please call back at your earliest convenience." The phone slipped slightly in her hand. Formal arrangement? Her heart dropped. She barely had time to process before it buzzed again. This time, it was Ethan. She answered on instinct. "What the hell is going on?" Ethan's voice was tight. "My mother found out. Yeah, I got that. A woman named Danielle just left me a message like I'm some problem that needs to be filed. I didn't approve that. She's my mother's handler, not mine." "You told her?" Callie's voice shook. "No, she cornered me. She already knew. She threatened legal action if I didn't protect my rights." "So you lawyered up?" "I didn't file anything, I swear. But she's right about one thing. I don't have any legal standing." "I told you from the beginning," Callie said. "No lawyers, no courts. This was supposed to be on my terms. I'm not trying to take him from you, but you still might." The words landed between them like a slap. "I need to protect him," she said, breathless now. "From your mother, from you, from everything I left behind." "I'm not him," Ethan said. "You're becoming him," she whispered. "And I won't let that happen to Oliver." Then she hung up. And Ethan was left holding a phone, his mother's warnings ringing in his ears, and the sound of the only woman he'd ever loved walking away. Again. The envelope was thick, too official-looking to be mistaken for junk mail. Callie stared at it on her kitchen counter, heart thudding in her chest. The return address read, Carter, Vaughan Leeds, LLP. She didn't open it. Not yet. Oliver was in the next room, building a solar system model out of paper plates and cotton balls. He hummed quietly to himself, focused, peaceful. Callie didn't want to break that, so she waited until bedtime. Until stories had been read and inhalers had been used. Until the lights were out and the apartment was quiet, except for the hum of the fridge and the occasional creak from the floorboards. Then she opened it. Joint custody petition. Proposal for visitation schedule. Suggested agreement for decision-making rights. Her hands trembled as she read each line. Her vision blurred somewhere around paternal access to medical decisions. It wasn't violent. It wasn't even demanding. It was worse than that. It was clinical, like this was a business merger, a negotiation. Like her son was a checkbox. She didn't text. She didn't call. She showed up at Ethan's office the next morning, storming past his assistant with nothing but a tight-lipped, "He'll want to see me." Ethan looked up from his desk when she entered. He was alone, and from the way his jaw locked, he already knew why she was there. "Callie, you said no lawyers. I didn't hire them to attack you. You filed papers." Her voice cracked. "You put my son on legal documents like he's a strategy." "I put my son on documents because I don't have rights, Callie. If something happened to you tomorrow, I wouldn't even be notified." "Do you understand how insane that is?" She blinked, caught off guard by the quiet panic in his voice. "I'm not trying to take him," Ethan said, standing now. "I'm trying to make sure no one else does. Not my mother. Not the courts. Not fate. You blindsided me. I was scared." "So was I," she said. "That's why I left. That's why I raised him alone. And now you want shared custody because you finally feel something?" "No." Ethan stepped closer. I want shared custody because I love him. She stared at him, searching for the lie again, still not finding one. That night at the museum, she said, her voice shaking, he held your hand. Ethan nodded slowly. I know. You didn't even blink. I didn't want to scare him. Callie pressed her fingers to her temples. You're good at pretending to be ready for things. That doesn't mean you are. I'm not pretending, he said. I'm drowning. She looked up at that. What? I wake up in the middle of the night and wonder if he's breathing okay. I check my phone for news alerts, afraid something's happened at school. I study parenting books and watch asthma treatment videos like I'm prepping for a final exam I missed 6 years ago. He stepped closer. I lost everything once. I won't lose him too. Callie didn't move. She couldn't. Her knees felt like glass. I can't undo what happened, Ethan said, but I can build something new, if you'll let me. She laughed, but it was hollow. You think a joint custody agreement is something new? No. I think it's the beginning of trust. That night, Callie sat on the edge of Oliver's bed, watching him sleep. His little fingers were curled around his stuffed astronaut, Commander Blue. His chest rose and fell in soft, rhythmic waves. On the nightstand was a folded piece of paper, a drawing. She unfolded it. 3 figures in spacesuits floating among stars. 1 tall, 1 medium, 1 small. Each with helmets and scribbled names above them. Oliver, Mom, Ethan. At the top, written in shaky handwriting, My Family Spaceship. Callie stared at it for a long time, long enough for the paper to blur with tears she didn't even realize were falling. Because no matter how scared she was, Oliver had already chosen. The office buzzed with muted chaos. Jared was pacing outside Ethan's glass-walled corner suite, talking into his headset about timelines, deliverables, and non-disclosure breaches. An emergency board meeting had been called over the Seoul Health Tech deal, a leak, a lawsuit, a $280 million risk. Ethan didn't care. He sat at his desk, unmoving, watching the cursor blink on his laptop screen. He'd opened Oliver's drawing again, scanned and saved it to a private folder titled, simply, OBC. Oliver Bennett Carter. He'd started using the name in his head, quietly. Hopeful. The cursor blinked. Emails piled up. And all Ethan could think about was how Callie hadn't returned a single message since she walked out of his office 2 days ago. There was no screaming, no confrontation. Just silence. And that scared him more than anything. 30 blocks away, Callie stood in her apartment kitchen, staring at the court petition still sitting on her counter. She hadn't signed anything, hadn't responded. She couldn't stop hearing Ethan's voice. I lost everything once. I won't lose him too. She believed he meant it. She just didn't know if love alone could outrun fear. She looked at Oliver, curled up on the couch, snacking on goldfish crackers and watching a space documentary for the 5th time this week. He'd started drawing Ethan into more of his pictures now, sometimes in a tie, sometimes with a cape. Kids made room in their hearts fast. Adults didn't. Back at Carter Tech, Ethan rose slowly from his desk. Jared burst in without knocking. You're not in the meeting. I'm aware. You're the final voice on this acquisition. We've got legal breathing down our necks, souls threatening to walk, and Evelyn's already, I'm not going. Jared blinked. Excuse me? Ethan shut his laptop and grabbed his coat. Tell them to walk if they want. If this deal can't survive 24 hours without me, it's not worth the paper it's written on. Ethan, this is your legacy. He turned, cutting him off. No. It's my father's legacy. I'm done inheriting everything but a life. And with that, he walked out. It took 2 trains and 15 minutes of standing in the rain outside Callie's building before someone buzzed him in. He didn't call ahead. He didn't want to give her a chance to say no. Callie opened the door in leggings and a sweatshirt, her hair tied up, dark circles under her eyes. She looked like she hadn't slept. She looked like someone who was just trying to hold everything together. "What are you doing here?" she asked. "I walked out of $100 million deal." Her brow furrowed. "What?" "I walked out. Of everything. Of the company, the boardroom, the expectations. I'm not asking for credit. I just need you to understand that I'm not negotiating anymore. Not with lawyers. Not with leverage, not with fear. Ethan," he stepped closer. "I'm not trying to win. I'm trying to stay." The silence between them buzzed like a wire. "I don't know how to trust you," she whispered. "Not with this." "Then don't," he said. "Just watch me." Her face cracked for just a second. "You walked away from your father's company. I'm not him." "No," she said quietly. "You're not." Oliver's voice called from the living room. "Mom, I made more stars." Callie stepped back, holding the door. Ethan didn't smile. Didn't push. He just walked in. And for the first time, he didn't feel like a visitor. Chapter. The rain was back, soft but steady, drizzling against Callie's windows as she loaded the dishwasher. Ethan was in the living room, helping Oliver piece together a glow-in-the-dark puzzle of the solar system. He wasn't trying too hard. Just present. And somehow, that mattered more. Callie leaned against the counter and watched them quietly. It still felt strange. Seeing Ethan like this, not in a suit or behind a desk, but barefoot on her rug, sleeves rolled, carefully turning puzzle pieces, while a 5-year-old explained planetary orbits like his life depended on it. "Saturn goes here," Oliver declared, placing the ringed planet in the upper right. Ethan grinned. "How do you keep all this straight?" "I remember stuff I care about." The words hit Ethan harder than Oliver realized. From the kitchen, Callie caught it too. She saw Ethan's face shift just slightly. And she knew that look. He was back inside his own mind, inside the past. Checker. After bedtime, Ethan stayed behind. Callie made tea. It was quiet, almost domestic. Too normal for 2 people carrying this much weight. "Do you ever think," he said, taking the cup she handed him, "that if I'd just picked up the phone that night, everything would have been different?" She didn't answer right away. Then, "Every day." He nodded, eyes on the steam curling from his mug. "What happened after I didn't show?" Callie's breath caught. "I waited," she said. 2 hours. Then I called your phone 5 times. No answer. Then I got a call from your assistant." His head jerked up. "She said, word for word, Ethan's not going to make it. Something came up. He sends his apologies." He blinked. "That's not what I told her." "What did you tell her?" "I said I'd be late. My father pulled me into a crisis call. I told her to push our reservation an hour and send you flowers." Callie let out a shaky laugh. "I never got flowers. I never got you." Silence. "I sat at that restaurant," she continued, "in that stupid green dress. I was going to tell you. About the baby. I even practiced how." Ethan's voice cracked. Why didn't you come back the next day? I did, she said. Your mother met me in the lobby. His heart stopped. She told me I was a distraction, a liability. She said you had a real future to protect, and if I loved you at all, I'd let you have it. Ethan's hands curled into fists on the table. She said she'd bury me, Callie whispered. That no one would believe a nurse from Queens if I tried to claim you were the father. Ethan's throat closed. She threatened you. Callie nodded. And I believed her. Why didn't you tell me this? I didn't want you to hate her. I already did, he said. He stood, pacing now, his fists at his sides. She made me think you left without a word, he said. That I didn't matter. She made me feel the same. He turned to her, and in his eyes was devastation, but also something stronger. Resolve. I'm done letting her write the story, Ethan said. I don't care what her money buys or what reputation she thinks she's preserving. You say that now, Callie said. But what about when this gets public? When she starts dragging Oliver's name into the media? When investors start whispering? Then I walk away. Callie stared at him. You'd give it all up? I already lost what mattered once, he said. I won't do it again. Later, after Ethan left, Callie pulled out a small wooden box from her closet. Inside was a folded napkin, with her old reservation scribbled on it. October 14th, 7:30 p.m., table for two. She'd saved it. All these years, proof that she hadn't imagined any of it. She traced the faded ink with her thumb and whispered aloud, "You were worth waiting for." The headline broke at 7:42 a.m. Ethan Carter's hidden heir, billionaire tied to secret child with former flame. Callie saw it first, an alert on her phone as she poured cereal for Oliver. She froze. There it was, a pixelated photo of her and Ethan walking out of the museum. Oliver between them, pointing up at the sky. Beneath it, speculation, snide commentary, anonymous sources suggesting a years-long cover-up, a pending custody battle, and the fall of a tech heir with a tarnished personal brand. She read it 3 times before her body caught up with her brain. Then she dropped the bowl of cereal. It shattered on the floor. Across the city, Ethan was already on his way to Callie's place when Jared called. "Don't check your email." I already saw it. Evelyn's team is in full damage control mode. She's on her way to the office now. You need to get ahead of this. I'm not going to the office. Then where the hell are you? I'm going to see my son. Ethan hung up, then turned off his phone. Chapter 5. Callie opened the door with fire in her eyes. "You promised me," she said. "I didn't do this. It doesn't matter." It still happened. Ethan stepped inside, quiet. "I think it was Evelyn. She warned me. She said if I didn't protect myself, she would." Callie's arms folded. "Well, now we all need protecting." "I'll fix it." "Don't promise that." Ethan looked at her. Really looked. The pain, the fear, the deep maternal fury that came from something more than betrayal. This wasn't just about them anymore. It was about what Oliver would grow up reading, what he'd hear whispered in school, what would follow his name like a shadow. "I'm not hiding him," Ethan said. "Or you." "Not anymore." Callie blinked, startled. "What are you talking about?" Ethan pulled out his phone. "I've already written the statement. I just need to post it." She hesitated. "Post it where?" "Everywhere." He turned the screen to show her. Statement from Ethan Carter. "Yes, I have a son. His name is Oliver. He's brilliant, kind, and stronger than I will ever be. His mother, Callie Bennett, raised him on her own when I was too blind to see what mattered. They are not a scandal. They are my family, and I will protect them the way I should have from the start. Callie stared at the screen. If you post that, your board will flip. Evelyn will retaliate. Ethan nodded. I know. Why now? Because I finally understand what it means to choose someone. He hit post. The screen went dark, and for once, so did the noise in his head. Check. It didn't take long. Media outlets started reposting. Blogs quoted it. Analysts speculated. The Carter Foundation's Twitter locked down. Stocks dipped, slightly but visibly. And Evelyn? She was waiting for him at his office. You idiot, she hissed. Do you know what you've done? Yes, Ethan said. I told the truth. You've damaged your credibility. You've exposed yourself legally. You'll lose votes on the board. Then let them vote. Evelyn stared at him like she didn't recognize her own son. I built this legacy, she said coldly, brick by brick. No, Ethan said. You built a wall. I just stopped living behind it. He walked past her, without another word. Back at Callie's apartment, Oliver sat cross-legged on the rug, watching the news. A picture of Ethan and Callie flashed across the screen, followed by Ethan's written post. Callie moved to switch the channel, but Oliver stopped her. That's us, he said. Yeah, Callie said carefully. It is. Is it okay now? What do you mean? Can I tell people he's my dad now? Callie knelt beside him. Yeah, baby. You can. Oliver smiled. Not wide, not loud. Just enough. It was snowing lightly by the time Ethan arrived at the school. He hadn't worn a coat, just a grey sweater and nerves thick enough to numb him. A security guard led him into the front office, where a secretary gave him a name tag and buzzed him through to the auditorium. Family Day, Kindergarten Orbit Show. The sign was made out of glitter glue and poster board. Inside, the seats were filling with parents holding iPhones and coffee cups. Callie sat near the front, a spot saved beside her. She didn't turn when he walked in, but she didn't move his jacket off the chair either. He took that as permission. Chapter. Oliver was already on stage. He wore a paper solar system hat. Little foam planets dangled above his head, bouncing every time he turned too quickly. The show began. Each child stepped forward and became a planet, sharing a fact in front of the mic. Mercury. Venus. Earth. Then came Oliver, stepping into the light like he belonged there. I'm Saturn, he said, clear and confident. I'm made of gas, and I have rings. I'm the second biggest planet in the solar system. A pause. And this is my mom. She helps people when they're sick. He pointed to Callie in the crowd. Applause. She smiled, tears already brimming. And this is my dad, Oliver said, pointing now to Ethan. He just found me. But I think he's going to stay. Ethan's throat closed, his hands clenched on his knees. The auditorium was silent. Then scattered claps began. Parents smiled awkwardly, whispering. Teachers looked at each other. No one said a thing. But Callie reached out. Her fingers brushed his under the armrest. Not tightly. Not forever, but enough. After the show, they gathered in the hallway with the other families. Hey, buddy, Ethan said, kneeling down. You did amazing. Oliver beamed. You didn't cry, right? No way, Ethan said. I just had space dust in my eyes. Callie rolled her eyes behind him. Are you still staying? Oliver asked. Ethan looked to Callie. This time, she didn't hesitate. "He's staying," she said. "He's ours now." Oliver nodded like it was official, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Then he pulled Ethan in close and whispered, "I saved you a star in my room. You can have it." Ethan smiled against the knot in his throat. "Thanks, little man. That's all I ever wanted." Later, when the crowds thinned and the sky darkened, they walked home together. No press, no threats, no declarations, just a man, a woman, and a boy. 3 people choosing quietly to be something together. Not perfect, but real. Certo. The apartment was quiet. Oliver was asleep, sprawled across the couch in a sea of pillows and blankets, his hands still clutching a drawing of a rocket. The paper read in crooked block letters, "My Family Planet." Ethan watched him for a long moment, arms folded loosely, jaw relaxed. The weight he'd carried for years, legacy, silence, guilt, hadn't vanished, but it had shifted. He could breathe again. Behind him, Callie stepped out of the kitchen, 2 mugs of tea in hand. She handed one to him. They didn't speak right away. There was no need. "I've been thinking," she said finally, curling onto the opposite side of the couch. Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Dangerous." She gave him a look, but smiled. A soft one, the kind he hadn't seen since before everything broke. "I don't know what this is. Us," she said, "but I know I'm not angry anymore." "Not in the way I was." Ethan nodded. "I don't need you to define it." She sipped her tea, looking down. "That used to scare me, you know. Not knowing what came next. And now? Now I think maybe not knowing means it gets to be new. Not something we fix. Something we build." Ethan stared at her, heart thudding in a way that felt oddly gentle. "You still wear the same perfume," he said. "Lavender and whatever that other note is." "Vanilla." "I remember." Callie's voice lowered. "I remember everything, too." A beat passed. Then she leaned in, slow, uncertain, and rested her head on his shoulder. Ethan didn't move. He didn't speak. He just let her stay there, warm against him, the way it might have always been if they'd known how to fight for each other sooner. Later that night, long after the tea had cooled and Oliver had been carried to bed, Ethan stood at the door, coat in hand. "I'm not asking to stay," he said quietly. Callie nodded. "I know." He hesitated, one hand on the doorknob. "But I want you to come back tomorrow," she said. "Not just for Oliver, for me." He looked at her, just once, like a man stepping onto something unsteady but worth it. "I will." And then he left, the door clicking shut behind him. But this time, the silence felt like hope. 3 months later, the snow had melted. Oliver was in the back seat of Callie's SUV, humming something tuneless as he kicked his heels against the seat. Ethan sat in the passenger side, flipping through a folder full of first-grade enrollment forms. "You really signed up for chaperoning a field trip?" Callie asked, pulling out of the driveway. Ethan smirked. "Apparently it's space-themed. I was told I'm emotionally qualified." Callie rolled her eyes. "He's never going to stop making Saturn jokes, is he?" "Never. And honestly, I don't want him to." They stopped at a red light. For a moment, the car filled with the ordinary. Traffic, a kid's voice singing off-key, the shuffle of papers on Ethan's lap. But for them, this wasn't ordinary. It was everything they thought they'd lost. That afternoon, they walked home from the library together, Callie holding Oliver's hand, Ethan on his other side. The boy swung between them, his laughter echoing down the sidewalk. They reached the stoop of Callie's brownstone. Ethan hesitated. He looked at her. "You sure?" Callie didn't answer with words. She stepped aside. Opened the door. Let him in. Inside, the lights were low. Dinner was in the oven. A science kit was spread across the table. Ethan knelt beside Oliver to help him untangle a set of glow-in-the-dark stars. "Dad," Oliver said suddenly, quiet and casual, like it was normal now. Ethan froze for half a second, then met his son's eyes. "Yeah, buddy? Do you think stars know when they're being looked at?" Ethan smiled. "I think they do now." Callie watched from the kitchen, heart full in a way she hadn't known was possible. Not perfect, but theirs. And sometimes, after all the noise and loss and breaking, that was the love that lasted. End of chapter 15. If you'd like, I can now format and package this story for export or expansion into a full novel. Would you like a summary sheet, book pitch, or even a title cover concept next?